The following programme may contain adult themes, strong language, and some nudity. Listener discretion is advised.
Josh Widdicombe. XFM. The Josh Widdicombe XFM podcast.
Live from the Edinburgh Fringe Festival.
I'm not going to lie, we were gossiping downstairs. I had no idea this had started. Hello, how are we? Good. I should have said, are we well? Good. I couldn't make the offstage announcement because we've used all of the microphones to do this. Basically what this is, I'll take you through what it's going to be. Just to be clear, this is becoming a podcast. So you've paid for something you could have got for free. So if you have a problem with being recorded, too late. It's going to happen. What it is this is always a gamble to ask this question. So I say lie because we're being recorded. I want a big cheer. Who has listened to the XFM show before? Good. Right, shall we see honestly who has listened to the XFM show before? Far less than last night. Some of you have turned up and gone, what the fuck are these tables for? What this is, it's basically a show. We've got brilliant guests who are comedians. We've got James Acaster, Matthew Crosby, Nish Kumar, Suzi Ruffell. We have various things going on. You've all filled in your sheets, and we will be coming to you if we think your anecdote is funny enough. If when you filled that in you didn't think that you might get talked to, you fucked up. Throughout the evening, there's various features we'll be going through. It's going to be a great time. We up for it? Yeah. So, shall we meet everyone involved? Please welcome to the stage, one at a time, from right to left, Matthew Crosby. Nish Kumar. Suzi Ruffell. James Acaster. And for the first or second time in public view, producer Neil. He is the man that produces the show. So let's all sit down and begin. Coming up, John Robins is coming, who does a different XFM show. He'll be guesting, but we can only get him a stool. And also, Henry Packer will be turning up to draw the show. So that's going to be exciting. So if you're worried that you could have just listened to the podcast, there's going to be a lot of visual gags you can enjoy. So how are we, team?
Very good. Should we address the fact we're dressed like the crappiest stag do of all time?
Okay, let's do that. Do you want to? What happened, Neil, was that one of the fans of the show, who I think is in, sent us these T-shirts. We originally received these T-shirts, which have our catchphrases from the radio show on. As you can see, it's pretty good. Neil's is good morning.
Good morning.
Yours is...
Good morning, or is it? That'll tag on to Neil's catchphrase there.
We won't be using them. We originally received these T-shirts anonymously in what was one of the most sinister things that's ever happened.
Just the T-shirts and a thumb that had been cut off. If you ever want to see Acaster again, send some money.
We did not send any money.
It was Laura Sorensen. Are you here tonight, Laura?
Hey.
Hello. Thank you very much for these T-shirts. As you can see...
I meant the best stag do of all time.
And as you can see, Matthew Crosby is not a medium as you thought he was.
No, a lot of room here. A lot of wiggle room going on here.
Also, I have gained quite a lot of weight since these came in, so my nipples are just coming out of the side here.
Well, you can store your nipples in my T-shirt. Plenty of space.
Right, well, with that lovely image, let's get on with the show. Welcome, Suzi.
Hello.
James.
Hi, mate.
Sorry, I've just been talking to that side of the room. Are you all right, James?
Okay. Yeah, pretty good on this side, me and Suzi.
Nailing it, yeah.
Yeah, just I'm being careful with my T-shirt. I have to make sure all letters are on display at all times.
That is a joke that the podcast listeners are going to fucking love. We're giving you your money.
Cover up the letters S and C and you've got an actual stag do T-shirt.
Yeah. That guy will be getting so many high fives all night. Not just a normal one, the master.
No one expects that from Acaster, but I like it when you go a bit blue. I will say one thing as well. Something we've learned over the course of Josh and I have only been up here for 2 days, and I've realised, which I mentioned a bit yesterday, is that my job is to hold the camera when people who recognise Josh want a photo. And I mentioned it in yesterday's show, and then after the show, someone came up and said, "Oh, can we have a photo with all of you guys together?" I'll hold the camera, and they went, "Yeah, seriously, we just meant Josh and James." So me and Nish had to step out of a photo we'd stepped into.
Also, hands down, the happiest looking person in that photo is me.
Yeah.
Someone's seen Sweat the Small Stuff. I fucking love it.
Mate, I gave Nick Grimshaw what for.
Now, let's get on with the show. There are 2 topics today. Susie, you have been in charge of vetting the audience topics. What are the 2 topics today, Susie?
The 2 topics are sending a text to the wrong person or replying all, nightmares, and minor reasons to hate your partner's ex.
Okay. Well, we should throw it open to the... Should we throw it open to the panel, or should we have an audience? Has the panel got anything to chip in on this?
When I was my girlfriend, now wife, when I was going to move in with her, we were moving in together.
Have you not moved in with her?
I have, but I was using the past tense there to suggest the story happened in the past, Josh.
Oh, okay. God, you took that photo badly, didn't you?
Happening in the past, just like my career. Edinburgh 2012 photos every day.
I had my photo taken with Josh and James by a small man in a nightie.
But it was the interim before we moved into a house together, and she was coming home. We were living in a house with my housemates. It was a bit awkward. All her stuff was there. It was kind of... she arrived home early, didn't have the keys, and she texted her friend, Christian. She texted, I'm sat on the stairwell. Matthew's not here. This whole idea of moving in with him is so fucking depressing. Sent it to me. This was about 6 or 7 years ago. I was at the time recording a podcast. How far my career has come. Just hopping from podcast to podcast like Johnny Appleseed. It was... I immediately cut the podcast short. The internet was devastated. Hopped in a taxi and had to do some serious lovemaking. I don't know what.
Some serious lovemaking?
No, I had to go do some serious kind of, this is going to be all right, Chippy, it's going to be okay. Shouldn't have used the pet name I used for my wife on the podcast.
But in case anyone didn't catch it, it was Chippy.
It's Chippy, yeah.
Chippy.
Chippy or the Chips.
I've got one that I got sent by my flatmate that was meant for his girlfriend when I was at uni. I think I might have said this before, but it's... and it's worse than Chippy. So I was downstairs. This was so mortifying that we've never brought it up. Because even though I wanted to take the piss, it was just too awkward. So his girlfriend had gone out, and he'd obviously tried to call her and not got through. So the text he sent me was, just wanted to give you a snuggle call. Hope you're having a snunky time. Monker loves monkey.
Yes. A friend of mine had a similar. Another comedian had a similar one when he was doing an advert, and the director of the advert texted him the day before saying, "I won't say, but is it hello Milton?"
It could be one of the many Miltons. Don't worry.
Could have been anyone in comedy. Hello, Milton. Very looking forward to working with you on the advert tomorrow. I've got some really great ideas. I think we're going to make something really good. And Milton texts back going, yeah, brilliant. Can't wait to meet you. And then the same guy texted him immediately saying, duvet day. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Can't wait to hug you and kiss you all day long.
And to be fair, that advert was brilliant.
Good. I heard one about which Henry Packer, who's arriving later, may be able to confirm. It's not quite a reply all, but it's a similar tech-based faux pas. Henry was showing one of my friends something on Facebook, and he said, look, there's this guy who's like a real dick. I'll show you his Facebook profile. And that was at the time where they just changed the layout of Facebook. So what Henry thought was the search option was actually the status option. Henry made that man's name his status, panicked, tried to delete it, and ended up liking it.
On a similar one, have you ever seen Moira Stewart's Twitter? So Moira Stewart set up a Twitter account that was... She's only ever done 2 tweets, both on the first day she set it up. And she obviously didn't understand... The first one said, I'm new to Twitter and don't know how to use it. And then the second one said, Fiona Bruce.
Well, that's the thing with the infamous, like, Ed Balls' Twitter account. Ed Balls tweeted, the first tweet he tweeted was just the words Ed Balls because of a similar snafu. And now there's an Ed Balls Day on Twitter where wags on the internet will all just tweet the word Ed Balls to mark the anniversary of when Ed Balls tweeted Ed Balls.
I think that have we got. I think that more or less sums up the subject. We'll be coming to your audience ones. It's not just going to be us talking about Ed Balls all night. But we each of our regulars, Matthew, Nish, and James, do a regular feature on the show. And so Matthew, if you'd like to start us off by taking centre stage.
Yes, so I do...
what a shit thing for me to say, sorry. Taking centre stage. Carry on. I shouldn't have drawn attention to it.
No, I think...
That was under the radar, mate. I didn't care that you'd said that.
No.
Matthew's about to do a turn.
I'm still thinking about Ed Balls.
So I read the celebrity autobiography, extracts from celebrity autobiographies. I said this yesterday. I had to buy some new ones, a stack of new ones for these shows. And the woman in the charity shop, when I bought a big stack of them, looked at the big stack of them and went, oh, you like reading about people. So that's what I'll be doing. I'll be reading about people. The one I'm going to read from today is Cliff Richard, My Life, My Way. All right, okay, there was a weird ooh over there. I'll address it really quickly, and this will definitely not make the podcast.
It will.
Will it?
I can't be bothered to edit anything out.
Wowie.
This is a holiday.
Let's see how fucking far we can go, ladies and gentlemen. We could single-handedly take down XFM.
Do address it.
Do address it.
Yeah.
I went to see Cliff Richard. I bought tickets to see Morrissey in Brooklyn as a present for my wife's birthday, and Morrissey cancelled. But his support act, Cliff Richard, still showed up. So we flew to New York, watched Cliff Richard, and flew home. Happy birthday, darling. It's not just the concept of moving in with me, it's kind of depressing.
Poor Chippy.
Poor old Chippy.
Only
Wouldn't like to be Chippy tonight.
only Morrissey and Wimbledon have Cliff as a backup.
So this is... I don't know how much of this I'm going to have time to read now, but this is about... I'll read these 2 very short sections. Basically...
Don't worry, just...
Let it breathe.
Let it breathe, guys. Okay, all right. So this is about the time. This is about the time in the mid-'80s when Cliff's career wasn't all kind of big hit singles. He starred in a weird sci-fi stage play called Time, written by Dave Clark of the Dave Clark Five, and
we all remember that. Don't
you
we?
remember that time. It was 1986. I'll read you a few little because the whole chapter is fantastic about it. But I'll read you a few choice segments. Sections would have sufficed. I'm not match fit. If you want to take a photo of you, I'm brilliant. Talking into a microphone on stage, not so strong. Ever since I was at school, I had a dream of appearing in a play on the West End stage. Jane Norris, my English and drama teacher at Chestnut Secondary Modern, was responsible for that. She had instilled a love of language in me and given me the opportunity to play out my fantasies. She used to make me read poetry at school. I love your speaking voice. You go ahead and make your music, she used to say, and then we'll find the right poems to accompany it. Today, they call it rap. So Cliff here is claiming
He invented
rap before he invented British rock and roll. So this would have been in the 40s. Cliff Richard claims to be the first rapper
In Chestnut Primary School.
in Chestnut Primary School. Yeah. So anyway, he does this show. There's a few other bits where he talks about the cast. All the fun they used to have. He says, the cast developed an unusually close bond. After the show, we would often go out to dinner together. I remember smuggling pizza into late-night movies. And sometimes we'd go down to the David Lloyd Centre and play tennis at midnight. Well, that's what you're telling everyone anyway. So, bit of midnight tennis, sure you do, Cliff.
15, love.
Oh, my God, this is going to be the best part of the show, and none of it will make it to air.
Cut around that, Fern.
I think that's acceptable.
That'll stay in. Yeah.
What? He says, "What? This is incredible as well. This is the mind of a deluded maniac." By the way, his chapter on Christianity starts with it's called "Filling the Void." Again, make your own fucking jokes. His chapter on Christianity it's like 15 pages long. The first chapter is, it was brilliant when I became a Christian because I started doing good stuff for people. That led to me getting an OBE. The rest of the chapter's about that. He's obsessed with himself, and he says, what I didn't realise until about 3 months into the run was how frustrated they all felt because I never spoke to them about my faith. Oh, how frustrated they must have been.
That wasn't why they were frustrated.
No. I went through rehearsals thinking if they want to know about my beliefs, they're going to have to ask me. Finally, they elected someone to speak for me. How come you don't want to talk about your Christian faith? Oh, I do, I said. And if you want to listen, I can arrange it too. This sounds even worse than midnight tennis. So one evening, we went to the Christian Arts Centre in Waterloo, which was run by some of my friends. We had a good meal. Then we all sat around with a few bottles of wine and talked. They asked us questions. They asked us questions. We plied them with questions. And we talked long into the night. They must have been praying for fucking midnight tennis. But my favourite bit about this... Sorry, go on.
I was making a quip, but now the timing's wrong.
In many ways, the story of Time, the musical by Dave Clark... 1986, they weren't ready for it. This is my favourite bit. The thing about celebrity autobiographies, if you're a connoisseur, as I am, like the bit where Gary Barlow in his autobiography goes on about how he's got an Oyster card and Robbie Williams doesn't.
What does Robbie Williams do? Travel cards?
No, you see, the thing is, Robbie Williams can't go on the Underground because he's too famous. Oh. So Gary Barlow's like, yeah, but I've got an Oyster card. That's genuinely his comeback. But the best thing is you have to throw in loads of just genuinely crap details to make the word count. And this is my favourite one. He talks about how much he loves sci-fi. So he says, I have to confess to being a fully signed-up Trekkie. I wasn't extreme. I didn't go to Star Trek conventions, but there was a time when I had about 60 of the original 60-something shows on video. I used to watch them every now and then, but I don't have a video player anymore, so I gave them to my gardener, who still does. Robins is here!
Hey! Robins. Before you said Robins is here, though, some people must have thought that was Cliff Richard's gardener.
And he's here tonight to give away that old Betamax player.
Right, so welcome, John.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me.
No worries, no worries. We're talking about the two subjects tonight, Susie, are...
Sending a text message to the wrong person or replying all, nightmares, and minor reasons to hate your partner's ex.
Just so you know, nightmares was part of the first one. It's not three subjects.
Just nightmares.
Susie, what have you found?
I've got one from Chris.
Chris?
Chris?
I mean, you're going to need more than that.
You've just given me fuck all, so... Just Chris. We're just going to go with Chris. Once sent a message to a guy I'd just fired. There we go. Found it. Saying, sacked the fucker. He cried and everything.
Oh!
Chris, you prick.
Where's Chris? Chris, put your hand up. So, Chris, can you fill us in a bit? So what's your job, Chris?
So you're a double cunt.
And so did you dislike the person? Yeah. Why did you fire him? And they can't because it's a bank.
You're
I
an
buy
awful
some
bank
money,
manager, mate. If you're selling them the money. I'd like to buy £10 worth of money, please. Oh, that'll be £10. Thank you.
I have an anecdote about text to wrong people. Shall I hit it now?
Well, let's finish with Chris.
Okay. I didn't realise we'd not
Robins
finished.
drew a line under that.
Your attention span is so short, John.
Robins, it's like you're appearing on this via satellite. I have an anecdote. Are you hearing me, Josh?
Nish, I've just come off a very difficult show.
Chris, so it was you didn't like the person. What happened with the mystery shopper?
Chris, shut up a second. Robins has got a story.
To his mum.
Robins, what's the story?
It's about a comedian who was doing Bristol Jongleurs with 2 other comedians, one of whom he didn't take to. So it was 2 guys and a lady, and he sent the other guy a text the next day saying, "Do you want to meet for lunch? But for God's sake, don't tell X. I couldn't bear another minute with that talentless, tedious bitch."
And he sent it to me. No. I wasn't really there.
And he sent it to the female comedian.
Oh my God!
Then had to do a gig. That was on the Friday night. Then had to do a gig that night.
Oh God! And did she mention it?
I think it was top of her agenda. Great gig, everyone. Great gig. By the way,
Surely that can be saved immediately with a quick LOL. Couldn't it?
Susie, any more?
I think this one's quite good. It's an email, but I think that's fine.
Yeah,
You
that's
okay with
fine.
that?
No.
No, okay. This is from Robin. Again, you've not given me a
With
surname.
a Y.
Robin with a Y. Is it the singer? Because I missed your set at Latitude, and I'd really like to... No? Okay. Our estate agent accidentally copied my housemate and me into an email meant for his colleague after we reported a broken bed. He wrote... Well, there's a great fat one and a pregnant one there. Want to place a bet on which one it was? Really strong work from Robin. Where's Robin?
Oh God! Estate agents, they are fucking pricks.
I've actually got a text on my phone someone sent me accidentally. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Chris, any stories?
One more, Susie.
So the guy was having a smoke, Chris.
Susie, any more?
Yeah, there are.
Should we fill for you as well?
Yeah, can you?
No.
Oh, sorry. I can't find the one. There was one, I don't know who it was from, but they sent their mum asking them how many grams of coke they wanted by accident. Who was that? Someone write that down and I can't find it now.
But coke comes in bottles, dear.
It's litres. Who was that?
Wait a minute, here we go. Texting mum if she wanted drugs.
This is the face I do when I pretend to get drugs talk.
I would love it if the person is currently in the labs at the moment. I'm sorry. That person had to nip out. Well, that's mental.
Wow. Who was it?
No one's going to admit it
I
now,
want
are
to
they?
know. I want to know how you
No.
got out of it, whoever it was.
Blair
sorry,
Sarah
Sue, wait,
Hall.
it was
You. What's your name? You what?
Cleo, you know you spelled your name wrong. Yeah, okay, cool.
How high are you?
Is that?
I'm surprised the card's not rolled up.
Oh, producer Neil, brilliant work.
Cleo, so what did your mum do?
But not in so many words.
Enjoy your life. I will no longer be a part of it.
John.
Do you want to read this out, Matthew?
So what is this?
It's the big one in the middle.
I didn't send it to you, did I?
No.
Oh, thank God for that. Shit. Because I really slam you by text, mate.
So who's this from?
This is from a girl I knew when I was a teenager who I met in my mid-20s.
Who's called Sexy Anna on your phone?
What? Don't need to focus on that.
I think there's a lot of people with that first name on Robin's phone, to be fair.
Don't look into that.
Do look into that.
So it says, in an unexpected turn of events, but in quite a good way, I ended up quite drunk last night and having lots of sex with Mohawk John.
Everyone John knows has a name like this. Sexy Anna, Mohawk John.
Mohawk John is John, presumably.
Yeah.
I used to have a Mohican, by the way. She's not insane.
Who was in town for business last night.
I have a second career as a salesman.
I am no longer a born-again virgin. Kiss. Mohawk John responds, smiley face. And she said, I was meant to send that to my sister. Whoa! Oops. And Mohawk John responds again, no worries, made my cock rock hard.
No, that's not.
Can I borrow this phone? This is racy stuff, mate.
She'll be back in 2 or 3 minutes.
That's a furious technique to be able to move the curtains that much.
Well, what were you supposed to be miming?
Punching myself in the penis as I do. Whenever it gets proud.
Celebrating. Loving it.
Yeah, well, if I did it the height of my penis, no one would have seen the hilarious joke I was doing.
Because of the dress you're wearing.
Wait, oh, no, this is... he said, no worries, made me laugh. Ha, 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 me too. I've been bursting into giggles all day. So silly. Hope you got home with no problems. Enjoy Australia. Big kiss. And then he texted back...
It's what I don't know.
A year later... Hey, hey, lady, how you been? Silence since then. That was 2012. Silence. How much of this do we have to edit out, John?
Did you get another text saying, OMG, Mohawk John just tried to text me, what a fucking loser? As if I'll ever be that desperate again.
Right. We'll come to more of them and we'll do the other subject which escapes me. But Nish, it is now time for Nishipedia.
Good evening. Or is it?
Less for the catchphrase than yesterday.
Even though it's on your
the
t-shirt.
reveal, what with it being on my t-shirt and everything.
So Nish, you're a fan of conspiracy theories.
Absolute love them, mate.
And each show you're going to present us a conspiracy theory you found on the internet.
That's right.
And Neil is going to judge whether... Or should we do the audience? No,
Yeah,
Neil.
yeah, no, audience.
Judge whether we think this is true, will be let into Nishipedia, or bullshit.
Well, this is the ideal one, because obviously we're on a late night time, so I thought I'd do a more dangerous... I mean...
That's a great sound effect.
Yeah.
They'll think you put that in.
Into our relationship. Whenever I hear that sound, I go, Widdicombe?
Josh, fully invested in this story.
Fucking hell, I'm going to need to get through this.
Give me one, mate. Cheers, mate.
This is one that was edited out for being too dangerous for XFM.
We haven't got the rights to that.
Cleo's texting a dealer.
Let's have a lock-in.
Nish.
Okay, the essence of this conspiracy is that a well-known fast food American chain that may be famous dispensers of poultry, let's, for the sake of argument, call them the Louisiana Boiled Turkey Company.
LBTK. That took me longer than...
They are injecting chemicals into their chicken, which is making black men impotent.
Wagwan?
Mohawk John, you Rasta legend. This is the... I'm going to read this whole thing out in one go. So this conspiracy dates back to the 1950s when the KKK were at the height of their... Yeah. That is the one thing we are literally not allowed to say. The two things... That is the line XFM have drawn in the sand.
Can we move on? Because I think there's rules about what you can say on stage as well.
Oh, right. Okay, this is a conspiracy. When the KKK were at the height of their powers, and the common perception amongst many people was that African Americans ate nothing but fried chicken and watermelons. Right. It had somewhat of a revival in the 1980s following the death of... he was rumoured to have been a Klan member and left up to 10% of his estate to the KKK. Supposedly, the recipe of 7 herbs and spices contains a chemical compound that renders African-American males infertile whilst leaving white males unharmed.
Whoa. Well, that's definitely not true.
And it is boneless chicken, isn't it?
Oh, Neil! There he is.
What I like, you're like a great striker. You don't do much, but when you do...
You are Dimitar Berbatov.
So, do we think this is true? No.
So, Nish, is there no more to this? Is that the whole thing?
Is there any
the whole
evidence?
thing.
Is there any
that's
evidence?
bollocks.
There were a lot of allegations that was a member of the KKK, but these were quickly dispelled when he left the whole company to a black guy. So this one is absolute bollocks.
But that black guy left it to no one because he didn't have any children, is that
that's
right?
right,
Just checking if that was true.
Just chicken.
Also, it would be impossible to... There would be no chemical you could just target black people with because there's no genetic difference between... like on DNA level between black people and white people.
Yeah, thanks for clearing that up, John. That's really...
No, but there's
John,
nothing...
The voice of
John,
reason's
sorry.
in, thanks.
Could you explain that again, please, John?
Really, you haven't seen any of the Shaft sequels because that's pretty much the plot of about 3 of them, I think.
There was an interesting documentary, actually, guys, on Radio 4 about racism, and they said, is there any way you can tell a person's colour by their DNA chart? And they said, no.
Eat this, then try and jerk yourself off.
So, Neil, what are your views? Not true? Well, if you said true now,
You're
it
going to
would
lose
create
your
the
job,
most
Neil.
awkward atmosphere for the rest of the show.
You get fired so quick.
Well, we should throw it open to the audience, but if anyone does vote that this is true, I think they should leave.
Well, yeah, cheer if you think it's true. Good.
Nish, you failed again.
Damn.
Oh, well, that was a bit of a damp squib at the end because I thought it was going to be more decisive, more of a...
I don't know what alarm anyone. I've just been giving 7 beers to myself. So, let's
go back to the audience, Susie. So, what more input have we got from...
More of the text ones.
Oh, whatever you want.
Oh, this is quite a good one from Adele. I assume it's not
you're
the
fucking
Adele.
kidding.
First Robin,
If
then
she
Adele.
sat with Robin, that's...
I mean, this has all the makings of another classic scrape.
Mrs. Overalls is in.
Can somebody please play Yakety Sax now? I'd love to see him race around the room.
Thank you, James.
Cheers.
James is passing out drinks in case anyone at home is listening.
Anyway.
Right, okay. After dumping a boyfriend, I thought that I'd sent a text to my friend saying, "Thank fuck that's over. Do you fancy a kebab?"
Oh, God.
I've worked out, as I said it, that one's sadder than it is funny. But, you know, you live and learn in Edinburgh. That's a lot of it.
Can we ask you that one? Where is it? So, Adele, hello, what did he reply?
yes.
Is that your current boyfriend? He has got the absolute archetypical she's talking about an ex-boyfriend face. Just that.
Which is interesting, because that is our other topic. Reasons to hate your partner's ex.
Well, okay, I'll take that on board.
I thought I had brilliant.
To say.
Hello, are you hearing me, Josh?
I'm like the American Live Aid link up.
Susie?
Do you want some of hating the reasons to hate your partner's
so
ex?
this is minor reasons you hate your partner's ex. You used to, yep.
Valini and Rachel. I like the word. I like the wording of this. She was allegedly scouted for America's Next Top Model.
That is brilliant.
That's from 2 people, though.
Who is that? You two. So whose ex was it? Yours. And was she scouted?
Sure.
Can anyone get Tyra Banks on the phone? No? Okay.
And how
I mean, in fairness, it's not the most serious allegation that's been made this evening.
Well, it's got scouts in it.
I think what Josh said about this going out online for free is completely untrue now. It's not...
This has become Fubar Radio.
Is there any more, Susie? On the
yeah, there's
extras?
heaps.
Oh. Well, do you want to read them out?
No, there is just heaps.
There's
Keep
heaps.
them
I'm
to
having a
yourself,
great time here reading this.
This one's brilliant. You should hear about it.
One from Trev.
Trev.
Oh, what a
Trev.
legend.
No, you know what? He's even more of a legend after you hear this.
Well, can we find Trev first?
Where's Trev?
Trev, where
There
are
he
you,
is,
mate?
the Trevorand.
He's super fit and actually not a bad guy.
Oh, Trev.
Again, I've misplaced, haven't I? Funny and sad. I do that a lot.
One more.
There was one that, he's now a fairly successful theatre actor.
Oh.
That's from Rich. Where's Rich? How successful, Rich?
Well, just walking around
I do that loads.
between auditions.
Which
This
show?
person.
Oh, no, I saw it.
This person's just written, had a nervous left eyebrow twitch. But they've also said their name is I've won a hump a lot, and I'm not falling for that again.
My friend Tom hated one of our friend's exes because he had a voice, and whenever he spoke, for some reason, the pitch or the timbre of his voice gave Tom a toothache every time he spoke. Like, he was just like, I can't stand this guy. And Tom's a very mild-mannered guy. And we were all like, I wonder what it is. And then after a while, Tom went, it's because every time he opens his mouth, my fucking tooth starts hurting.
Have any of you got any reasons to hate your partner's ex?
Yeah, can't go out. Can't go out.
Let's actually don't go into that
wow,
one.
yeah.
Let's not go into
that's
that
the
one.
problem. That's it. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll move on from that one.
I'll tell you one story which I think I might have told last night, which was I used to go out with a comic and I broke up with her, and then the first person I went home with had a poster of her on her bedroom wall.
That was a threesome.
I know for a fact.
Who the hell has a poster of Victoria Wood on their bedroom wall?
Judy Walters, weirdly. Don't stick your pen in the company ink. That's the lesson there.
Will Hodgson once had sex under a poster of Russell Howard, and if you know Will Hodgson, which you should because he's a fantastic comedian, he was like, fucking hell, man, I'm just fucking staring up from the space, fucking Howard, man, looking down at me, man, going, good one, Will.
That's the best Andrew Maxwell I've ever heard in my life.
No, this is the best fucking Andrew Maxwell, so you better fucking know the fucking truth, okay?
Let's move on from niche impressions. For the listeners, Nish has just put his hand up there.
I've got another quite good one here from Gordon. I had to have an awkward chat in the pub with him when she was cheating on him with me.
Not a reason to hate him, is it?
That's surely a reason to feel sorry for him.
Yeah.
Gordon?
Gordon having that chat going, oh, I fucking hate you putting me through this.
That is a reason to hate life, Gordon.
Where's is Gordon here?
Yeah. It's just
There at
there.
the back. He's up the back.
There he is, Commissioner Gordon.
So what happened, Gordon?
Does it sound worse now I've said it out loud? Yeah, that happened.
Had a chance to reflect on it, didn't you, Gordon, you piece of shit?
I just love the idea of a love triangle with a man called Gordon in it. We need to have a talk.
The breakup
It's about
chat.
Gordon.
Oh, not Gordon. Anyone but Gordon.
Gordon's good to
Greatest
me.
lover I've ever had.
Right.
Who's eating Gordon's grapes? That was too late. I'm sorry. Sorry.
No,
I'm
Gordon,
sorry,
I
Gordon.
can't
I'm
do.
sorry.
Are you all right, Gordon? Okay, good.
Are you sure?
Who are you here with, Gordon? Are they?
And are you proud?
Are they your parents or someone else's parents who's stolen for the night? Made them be your parents.
Right. Let's move on to. So we'll come back to those topics. So they've. Is there more? There is more. Is there? Oh yeah. All right. Calm down. Henry Packer is here.
And he's packing pints.
Now, Henry Packer is not just a comedian. You are a professional artist. Correct. You've had 2 books published. Yes. You've had 3 books published, actually, haven't you, Henry?
We didn't talk about one of the books.
What's the 3rd book called?
Well, let's go through the first 2. Okay. Do you want to give him your mic? Someone? Okay. The first 2 are comedy cartoon books, Why Steve Was Late, and...
so there's a book of Why Steve Was Late, 101 Reasons for Being Late. That was my most sort of artistically sort of interesting one. Then there was... there's Don't Arm Wrestle a Pirate, 101 Things Not to Do.
And then there was one which you did under a pseudonym.
There was one which I did under a pseudonym, which I assumed I wasn't going to be talking about, which was I sold out, basically. The first 2 had a lot of artistic integrity and meant a lot to me. And then I went for the big bucks with a book called Famous Last Turds.
How much money did you receive for Famous Last Turds?
It didn't make enough money so that we got any royalties.
In fairness, it is a classic toilet book.
Exactly.
What is the concept of Famous
fuck
Last
off.
Turds?
They've turned, mate. They've turned.
Concept is perhaps overstating it, but it's basically it's 101 pictures of turds, which all belong to famous people. And the turd is in the shape or in a position which is relevant to the person. So, for example, just to give you an example, Stevie Wonder's turd was in the sink.
That sounds. Have you got any more? That sounds genuinely brilliant.
Yeah. What was the name of the author?
I did it with a guy called Dave Skinner, and we rearranged our letters of our names to be Kevin Spender and Harry Kane. Who sound like a couple of detectives.
Wow. So, anyway, tonight you're going to draw the show. You're going to draw Acaster's scrape.
Oh, brilliant. Okay.
James will be doing a scrape at the end. So, before that, Susie, some last audience interaction?
Yes, of course. Will Spears. This one.
Does he?
Hand up immediately, Will Spears. Nice
where I missed you.
Will Spears over there. Hello, Will. Hello.
Hello, Will.
Which subject is this?
This is minor reasons to hate your partner's ex. But I feel like it's been written with a clenched fist. And it's, he's still one of her free 5 phone calls in her mobile.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
So,
I like
Will,
that one.
Not cool.
Who are you here with, Will?
Yeah.
Shocking.
She's off making phone calls.
Yeah. Making use of those 3 minutes.
So what she gets? She's still on BT Friends and Fam. What? So is she still friends with him?
Is he Bob Hoskins? Is that too niche?
I mean, I was going to say, he's not called Gordon, is he?
Any more, Susie?
Louise Jones sent a text saying, I can't believe my flatmate has got back with her ex. Of course, sent to the flatmate. Pretty good. After drinking, this is good. This is from Lucy, who hasn't given a surname, which might be the right thing to do.
Which subject's this?
Wrong texts or replying all. After drinking a bottle of vodka at the cinema. Fair play, Lucy.
Where can we find Lucy first?
She's the one that's falling over and vomiting into her shoe.
So which size? The small one. What was the
Fucking
film?
Classic
Dave.
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 That was a very
Absolute
special
legend.
Tuesday morning.
what was the film?
Well, this is
Inception.
Inception?
This
This
is
doesn't
the-
make sense
yeah.
sober.
It's not one you have to concentrate for. That's okay, isn't it? Just get sloshed and watch Inception.
Well, that's the end of it. You drank a bottle of vodka at the cinema and then texted her entire address book that Inception was the best film ever. To make it better, it was on purpose.
Do you get free texts?
Only to Gordon.
Any more, Susie?
Yeah, Gary Hewitt, who, if you're sitting near him, I suggest you move away.
Where's
'Cause
Gary Hewitt?
Gary Hewitt,
No.
he's left because he knows... He sent a text message to someone saying, if you sleep with someone else, I'll fucking kill you. Which...
Ooh.
Do you mean that might get cut? Is that too dark, Neil?
No, that's fine.
Okay. Harry, Kev,
The curtain so we can see Henry.
Not that.
No.
the other one, mate.
Well,
Come on.
that one.
Yeah, the one that's covering
the one
him,
that's in front of
dickhead.
It's not my forte.
Another
curtains?
classic scrape.
Every morning in the Acaster house, there's about 2 hours while he tries to open the curtains. Any more?
Harry Cavill.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Sent a Snapchat of my penis to an ex.
Whoa. Where's Harry? Harry?
But this has happened to me, as
Yeah.
you know, a comedian.
Lloyd Griffiths.
Lloyd Griffiths. Accidentally.
Oh my God.
Who's doing a show in the Pleasance Courtyard every day. Try and catch it.
Voice of an angel, body of a trucker, penis out.
Penis to a lesbian. He Snapchatted me a picture of his cock, and then immediately texted me saying, "Do not open that Snapchat." Said, "Mate, I've already screen grabbed it and sent it to all of our friends. No worries."
Did you screen grab it?
Yeah, of course.
Qualo.
I mean, penis to a lesbian is another Morrissey song title.
Have you still got the snap? Have you got the thing?
Well, yeah, I think it's still on my phone downstairs. Do we all know? No.
Do you look
It
at
looks
it every
sad.
day?
What?
It looks sad. Probably because it realised he was sending it to a lesbian. This is going to do nothing.
I bet it does a lot, but it helps you every now and again. You look at it and go, I made the right
Yep,
decision.
still off solids. Brilliant.
Like a Nicorette patch.
Right.
The title of my next show.
I think that more or less draws a line under that. So we come to the final section of the show, which is James Acaster's scrape. Henry will be drawing this scrape, and we'll give the drawing to the person we consider did the best text. We'll discuss that at the end. Not text, best anecdote. We'll discuss that at the end.
Whittles, are you a tiny bit pissed?
Nah. So, James, a scrape you've got into.
Hello, Josh. This is basically the worst gig I've ever done.
Cheers, mate.
So I refuse to tell a scrape. You can all go fuck yourselves.
That Dido reference deserved a lot more.
Yeah. Not many people reference Dido, guys. You don't know how good you've got it.
No.
Not that funny. Fuck yourself. I was asked to sort out the comedy lineup for a festival called Fellfoot Sound. It's the first time they'd ever done the festival in North Yorkshire in the Fellfoot Woods. And I sorted out me and a bunch of friends. We were told we were going to do comedy around a campfire. The rest of the whole weekend was experimental bands, and that we would be doing comedy around a campfire. It'd be very nice. We were told it was going to be a lovely, lovely gig.
Why were you asked?
Why? The organizer, I used to be in a experimental band also, and he used to book us for gigs. And he said, "Are you doing comedy now? You can come and do some comedy at the gig." Yeah,
What was the name of that band?
The band was called The Wow Scenario. It was the best band ever. The Wow, that name again, The Wow Scenario.
And they're still on MySpace, so...
Didn't it have an exclamation mark after wow as well?
Yes, exclamation mark in the middle of the name. How many bands do that? No one.
No.
They're so
Godspeed you, Black
experimental, they
Emperor,
weren't
do
even
that.
on MySpace, they were on LinkedIn.
Business. So I sorted out a lineup, and we made our way down to North Yorkshire, up to North Yorkshire. On the way there, we stopped off at Tesco and bought loads of marshmallows because we thought we'd toast them around the campfire with all the festival goers.
Fucking hell, it's pretty rock and roll, isn't it?
And we arrived at the Felfoot Woods, and the promoter said, right, we've been told that because it's the last day of the festival, we've got an early curfew now. The last 2 nights, they haven't been happy with how loud the music's been, so the music has to stop at 10. So we're wondering, if we stop the music at 10, the comedy can start then in front of everybody, so the comedy will be the only thing on.
Oh, God. So you were headlining the festival?
Headlining the whole festival.
You were doing Sunday night?
Yeah, we're doing the last night, closing it.
You were Kasabian?
Yeah. We were Bruce Springsteen. And as far as the punters were concerned as well, they thought it was carrying on as late as normal, and they didn't know comedy was even at the festival at all.
Imagine Glastonbury, 10:30, on the Pyramid stage. And now, Josh Widdicombe.
Good evening, Glastonbury.
Toilets, eh?
Kettles and toasters. Oh, nightmare.
You go in one, and, has anyone been to the Thai food stand? Thing with Thai food, I mean, what is it? It's not Chinese, it's not Indian. It's sort of... No, don't throw those.
Your Widdicombe impression is starting to sound like a drunk Alan Partridge.
Let's get back to Acaster. Bit of focus, guys, bit of focus.
So yeah, we were told this, and the last band played, and they stopped at 10, and the audience loving it, expecting there to be at least 2 more hours of music. And then an old man called Barry walked on stage, and
what kind of stage was it?
This was it was actually a lot like this. It was on the floor, and the audience were raked on a hill. The audience were on a hill looking down on the stage. So
was it a proper stage with
There was lights and everything. Yeah, it was very it's a proper stage.
And how many people are we talking about? How many?
We're talking. I'd say about 500 people at this particular festival. So Barry walks on, and Barry owns the woods. They're Barry's woods. He owns Felfoot Woods. They're his woods. He's given these people permission to have a festival there, and he walks on, and they go ballistic. They love Barry.
How old's Barry?
Barry is probably late 70s, early 80s. He's an old man. And he walks on, they go crazy for him. And Barry has so far closed every day at the festival by reading a poem. So he walks on, applauding the band, and then they start shouting, "Read us a poem, Barry, read us a poem." And he goes, I can't read you a poem, actually, because I want to introduce some comedians. And they go, "Tell them to fuck off!" Pretty much all of them, really loud. Also, it has been pointed out to us that they've all been doing mushrooms for 3 days straight. So shouting.
Does this festival still exist?
I don't know. It might. It's the first.
Can I get on it next year?
Yeah, you can go. I can hook you up.
I'm a bit offended you didn't ask me to come if you're creating it.
Sorry, mate. Back then we weren't as tight, but now you'd be first dibs. So we're going to fuck off, and then eventually Barry yields to doing a poem, and he does a poem called "Into the Woods."
Have a fucking day off, Barry. We get it. You own the woods. Move on. I've got another one called King of the Trees.
If you go down to the woods today, you'll see me because I fucking own the woods.
The only line I remember from Into the Woods was "Into the woods, up to no good." That was it. That was all I can remember.
Silence!
That is a chapter title, weirdly. It's
So Barry does the poem, and at the end of the poem is "up to no good," and they all erupt. They go ballistic. They're applauding. There's birds flying out of the trees. Everyone's loving Barry
They're called
so
women,
much. Mate. Yeah. Also, while they were applauding Barry, I remember while they were applauding him, a guy jumped on stage and pointed at Barry like this. like an elf, just so everyone applauded. So just in case people weren't sure exactly who they were applauding, it's Barry. It's Barry.
So to Barry was the hero. The first ever corporate I did. I've had to follow a guy. It was at a end of, it was at a company awards, and it was a guy who'd done 50 years of service called Roy, and he got a tearful standing ovation, and they said, "And now here's a new comedian, Roy." And
sorry, Karen.
No, Karen.
No. I've not.
1 point for Moldova.
I've got a corporate story, but I'll
go
follow
on.
yours.
No, go on.
I'm very bad at this. I don't know when it's my turn.
It's your turn.
Okay. I did a corporate for the Indian Tsunami Relief Fund.
Livid Kumar.
I mean, I'd take it if I'd have lost it to Romesh.
For £250, which is big corporate money.
I'm sure you did give it to the cause, though, didn't you?
They had enough good singles that they'll be fine from royalties.
The cause.
The cause there.
The cause.
A reference from an old Acaster joke, we assume.
And I was brought on by an ex-Blue Peter
Blue Peter.
presenter.
Hello. Can you hear me, Josh?
And what I followed, so it was in a function room at a hotel in Bristol, and I followed a very moving slideshow of some of the most explicit and harrowing images of the tsunami. And the tsunami was absolutely terrible, and an awful lot of people died. And then another victim died. Because after showing the slideshow, the ex-Blue Peter...
Jesus.
Blue Peter.
And That's Life presenter said, right, now some light relief from a Bristol-based comedian. And then he read from, now there's a website called Comedy CV. Basically, when comedians start, they put up a CV onto a website and then they don't update it ever again. So he said, this young comedian has played gigs as far and wide as Plymouth's Fandango Club and the Taunton Brewhouse. The Bristol Evening Post has described him as fresh and original. Ladies and gentlemen, John Robins. I then walked out on stage in front of about 50 people, all of whom were local businessmen from the Asian community who I then told about my life for 15 minutes. I was booked to do 30. I had followed a very moving slideshow of photos of people who had died, literally. And I left, and I took my check, and I promised I would never, ever do stand-up ever again.
John's show is on every day in the President's Courtyard. Do catch it, it's a
9:45,
hit.
ironically called This Tornado Loves You.
James, back to...
Thank you, Josh. Barry finished. Everyone loved him. And then he said, now some comedy. I was the first act on. I walked on to boos. I've never been booed on stage before. I was booed quite ferociously on stage, and I walked on clutching all of the bags of marshmallows we had bought.
Oh, no!
While throwing them into the audience as a way of, like, it was like if you're thrown to a lion's den, just, like, armed with nothing but raw meat, and you're just... just desperately trying to fend them off and just quell them in some way. And they were heckling for the whole gig. They were heckling, and they heckled all of us all the way through solidly. But there's one guy on the front who had like long hair and a beard, who wasn't shouting out like everyone else. He was just speaking just doing a speaking volume, so only we could hear it, which is more. If you want tips on how to really mess a comedian up, don't shout out so just speak to them directly. He was just sitting on the front, and all he said for the whole gig, he just kept on going, "You can suck my dick, mate." Oi, mate, suck my dick. And you kind of be doing your gig, and then every now and again you kind of go, I don't want to. You kind of carry on. You'd be trying to do it. There was one act on who I hadn't booked. I'd sorted out everyone apart from one guy who he went on, and we'd never seen him before. The promoter had booked him, and he went on. Bearing in mind, the rest of us were doing kind of like light whimsy, and we're getting abuse from these festival goers. This guy went on, and his opening line was, "Is it me or are all women lying whores?" was his first line, and he was the only one out of us.
Was it him or was it?
Huh? It was him because he got a lot of bottles thrown at him, and a bag of marshmallows hit him square in the face. I did throw it. They're all dying one by one, and the last act, my friend Nathaniel is on, and he's getting the same treatment. And then the guy who's been saying "suck my dick" for the whole thing, he stands up during Nathaniel's set, and he walks around the back of the stage and just approaches me and my friend David, who we're both on.
So was there back to the stage? So
not really. Yeah, kind of. No, not really. They could see the back. He was just walked. Everyone could see him, but like by that point, professionalism had gone out the window. It really wasn't an issue. And he came up to me, and I thought, right, I know what he's going to ask me, and I'm not going to do this. You're not here to collect what's rightfully yours. And he said, it's something he was friendly, and he went, "You all right, mate? Look, you guys are struggling. You're a bit shit. No offence, but I reckon I could do better than this. Can I get on? I can just do a comedy set." And my friend David went, sorry, what are you planning on doing? He went, "I'm just going to go on. I'm going to say, hey, everyone, 3 cheers for Barry." And I'm going to give a cheer for Barry. And then I'm just going to do 1 minute. I'll just do 1 minute of pure comedy.
And that man was Josh Widdicombe.
Yeah. This is how I met Josh.
You still haven't sucked my dick, though, have you?
There's a big finale tonight.
Yeah.
Well, medium-sized finale.
Just one day went by where you don't bring that up, Josh. Every morning I'll see Josh. You still haven't... Yeah, I know what I haven't done, Josh. Just leave it for 5 seconds. So he said he was going to go on to do that, and I thought, yeah, okay, because I don't like him. He hadn't been nice to us. I thought he was going to go on and die along with the rest of us. He deserves it. So when Nathaniel finished, I walked on. I said, "Felford Sound, the comedy's not over yet. You've got one more act." And he told me his name. So I said, "Please welcome one of your own, Rybo." What's his name?
What? How's he spelling that?
Rybo.
Rybo.
Rybo. His name was Ryan, and yeah, he was cool. So introduced Rybo, and he walks on, and he walks on to the kind of applause normally reserved for Barry. It's ridiculous. They loved him, and I was like, "Oh shit, he's going to absolutely rip this, and we're going to look like a bunch of no-hopers." He goes on, he goes, "Hey, Felford Sound, how's it going?" Then massive cheer, round of applause for Barry, huge cheer again, and then he launches into his 1 minute of pure comedy, and I apologise in advance for what I'm about to say. He went on, and he said, "Well, Felford Sound, I was in my tent last night, and there's a couple in the tent next door to me, and they were going at it. You know what I mean, mate? You know, they were going at it. And I heard the bloke at one point. He shouted, 'I'm gonna come in your pussy.'" That was the reaction it got. Just silence. Everyone looking shocked, horrified, apart from one guy who looked really proud of himself. But like, everyone was appalled. It was a horrible thing to say. I walked on to the silence, and I went up to Rybo, who was still facing the crowd and looking. And I said, "Rybo, I think it's over, mate. I think that's it." And he went, "I thought that would go well." I said, I know you did, mate. We've all made mistakes tonight. I bought 10 bags of marshmallows on the way here. Like we've all misjudged this gig. Like don't worry about it. Let's just get off now. And he went, he kind of grabbed my arm and he went, please, just let me do one more joke. Something about how I was like, yeah, I know I shouldn't, Rybo, but you got to do it. And I was still on stage at this point. He didn't let me walk off stage before he did his joke. I was about a foot away from him. And he just turned to the audience and dropped his trousers immediately. And he kind of turned round 180 degrees and then dropped his boxer shorts so that it was just his butt. And then he turned all the way around again, revealing what is still to this day the most disfigured penis I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen a penis with corners in it. Had one very prominent corner. There's more. So there's a corner, and me and my friend Chris both agreed that it was at least 75% bell end. Yeah.
So
it looked really awful, and I was there on stage with him still. And everyone gasped, obviously, and Rybo realised that it looked not impressive. So he started to try and make it look more impressive. Now, we're all adults, we know how this is done, so he started just tenderly at first, masturbating said penis into stuff like, but he'd been doing mushrooms for like 3 days straight. It was a slow process. So he's kind of I'm still next to him. It's still me and him. Still very much a double act at this point. And I like to think I'm the straight man.
Yeah, it's cannon and balls.
So he's doing that, and everyone's really... He's kind of waddling around. He's still got his trousers around his ankles. He's kind of like...
So who's got the mic at this point?
No, there's no mic at this gig. There's no mic at the gig at all. There's because of the curfew, they'd done it acoustic in front of just the audience like that. So there's no mic. And he's
unplugged?
Yeah, unplugged. He's waddling around. He's furiously masturbating. He's having no effect at this point.
Oh, my God!
Then he starts shouting out, "I'm going to come in your pussy." Now, that... comedically is a callback. He's shown a lot of professionalism under these circumstances. It's quite. I started respecting him for a second. And something about comedic structure, Rybo. It was pretty good that you brought that up. But I realise it's up to me to sort this out, and I'm out of my depth. I'm going to level with you. This doesn't happen often. The gigs I'm used to doing, I don't really know how to handle this. But I'm saved because there's a woman who's stood right at the back, and she spent the whole day dressed as a dog. All day she was in a onesie dog outfit with big furry fluffy dog ears, and she stood up right at the back of the hill, right at the top of the hill, and she started running towards the stage. Her ears were flapping in the wind, really fast. She got to the lip of the stage and she jumped, and as she jumped, she clotheslined Rybo with her arm straight to the ground and started slapping him. But forehand and backhand, just pinning him down with her knees and just slapping him back and forth while he continued to masturbate and shout his catchphrase.
Did anybody film this?
No one filmed it.
That is the exact niche pornography I'm into. It really is.
It sounds like a scene from Lars von Trier's next film.
Literally, the woman dressed as a dog has pinned him to the floor. She's slapping him. He's masturbating, shouting his catchphrase. I'm stood there. And then they turned off the lights, and that was the end of the festival. How the whole festival ended.
I think that story might have just sold 200 extra tickets for next year.
Felfoot Sound.
Wow.
If she'd been dressed as a cat, it would have at least had narrative structure. And now we can recreate that scene. Gordon, come on down.
Wow. What a story. That's it.
Yeah.
And now all we have to do is reveal what Henry... I'm slightly worried.
And hammered.
As to what
That is one of the best pictures I've ever seen.
So, Packer, do you want to take us through your drawings? Do you want to bring them centre stage? And And I think the drawings should be given to Laura, who provided our T-shirts. Can we have a round of applause for Laura, please? Yay!
Can we watch them? Because he's so brilliant.
So to start with, I just did some warm-up cows. It's like Rafael Nadal will eat a banana, and cartoonists will draw some cows. So we just a standard cow, shifty-looking cow. It's an eyeball trick, and the silhouette adds to the sense of menace. Fast cow and French cow. They're just my practice cows. But yeah, they're not a big deal. Oh yes, so this was where. Because it's quite difficult. I have to anticipate what's going to happen sometimes. So just because you said you had the worst gig of your life, so I just anticipated. I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be you doing Def Jam comedy. James entering Def Jam comedy night.
Can we have that one back down? Josh is taking photos.
Yes.
For the listeners.
Sorry,
that sort of interrupted your rhythm.
So this. Oh yes. These are huge mountains of unsold WoW scenario merchandise.
Too close to the truth, Packer. Too close.
We've got WoW scenario T-shirts. There's eagles to suggest that it's huge. Eagles living in and then some people have made favelas. Some people are living on the merchandise. And we've got the discontinued WoW Scenario board game, WoW Scenario Jeopardy. There's a copy of that. Okay. Again, I had to anticipate. So, because it was in Yorkshire.
Yes.
I just said, you said it gone badly, so I had to anticipate. I thought this is a huge wicker Yorkshireman who's wearing a wicker cloth cap, and you're inside him being burnt to death. That's just what I thought might... And there's a wicker whippet as well next to it that they're setting fire to.
You've absolutely got Acaster nailed down there, mate.
I know, I've got him, haven't I? The sense of panic.
Classic scrape master.
This, I can't remember what the fuck this is.
The
birds
applause
flying
for
out
Barry.
of a tree.
Birds flying out of a tree, correct, thank you. That's birds flying out of a tree.
Okay.
Is someone riding a bird?
Oh, yes, I did Josh riding a sparrow. Josh is riding a sparrow out.
He is quite small.
This is... I've no fucking idea what this is.
Is this Barry who owns all the trees?
Was there a big naked bald guy?
No.
I think I was picturing myself later on.
Is that Josh? Is that Josh again? Is that Josh in his
It might
hand?
be. It's probably Josh. I can't remember. Oh yes. So this is John Robins doing a comedy gig in front of a slide of the tsunami.
I love the stereotypical Chinese man flying across the...
It's a respectful...
It was the Indian tsunami!
No. That might not be a... That could just be a...
At least be racist accurately, mate.
What I love most about that is, look, the dog looks like he's having an amazing time.
Also, the dog's going in the opposite direction.
Also, you've based me on the scientist from The Simpsons.
That's your
That
mouth.
is what you look like.
That is your
that
mouth,
is you.
Robin.
But how glad was I that I did those warm-up cows earlier? That's why it's worth doing.
Jesus. Oh, Jesus.
The picture James Acaster never wanted to come to light.
Here we go.
Him and
We were
Ribo.
all picturing it, so I just
For
thought...
people at home, Packer's about to unveil a picture of James Acaster. How would you describe this?
Vigorously giving oral sex to a man from the Yorkshire.
Yep, fair enough.
Yeah, because that...
There it is.
I like the way he had a banner already made. Now,
I
will definitely get sucked off this festival,
Actually,
and
Crosby,
I can't wait to unfurl it.
Whenever I administer oral sex, I give people that banner. I would like to point that
For
out.
listeners,
I
the
can just
banner
hold
says this is brilliant.
Just hold this for my self-esteem, please.
That is a disgusted roach. Leaving the scene. And the last one is...
Can I just say, I've done Edinburgh the last 10 years. It's the most fun I've ever had.
The last one is, because you described the penis.
Yes.
And it was very...
Can I just say, we were going to give these pictures to Laura as a present. I now worry. No one wants to go home with that.
I don't know where you're going to hang this, Laura.
I sort of went, I don't know, you described the penis and I went into a sort of reverie. It was quite surreal, the way you were describing it. It had angles and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was 75% bell end. So...
MC Escher's penis there.
Exactly. Basically, I've done the thing that you get, in Osborne books and stuff, so that's him wanking, and then there's a little big version of close-up. And then I've just given him standard testicles, because you didn't mention the testicles.
Yeah.
So I've given him literally off-the-shelf sort of standard testicles. And then I tried to make the penis... Good call. I tried to make it do the Escher staircase of sort of going down forever. And then I remembered that it was 75% bell end, so then I just had to draw the biggest bell end of my career. Which I was quite pleased with, yeah.
That is
That's a lovely picture.
one of the best endings to any show ever.
You thought famous last turds was your low point.
Thank you very much, Henry Packer. Laura...
Woo! Henry Packer.
Are you going to give them... Can I just thank you all for coming? Thank you so much. If you were a bad audience, then this would have been a really awkward hour and a half. Can we... We'll as plugs from left to right, Nish.
My show, Ruminations on the Nature of Subjectivity, 7:15, the Pleasance Courtyard. Please come, please. Not desperate, please. Come on.
John?
My show's called This Tornado Loves You. It's at the Pleasant Courtyard in the same room as Nish at 9:45.
Neil?
If this hasn't put you off XFM, congratulations. Thank you.
Susie?
My show is Social Chameleon. It is in the Studio 4, which is just downstairs from here, every day at 6:30, except for tomorrow.
Useful. Acaster?
My show is called Recognise. It's at the Pleasance Courtyard at 8 o'clock.
With an S. It should have been recognised with a Z.
Get over it, mate.
And Henry?
And my show is Henry Packer, Classic Packer. No, it's not. That was last year. Fuck. What?
It's called Unpacked, mate.
I
Unpacked.
was drawing that penis. It's completely thrown me.
Reminded you of your last show. What the fuck was your last show about?
It's Henry Packer Unpacked at 9:35 at the Bunker in the Pleasance.
Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone. Thank you to everyone at the Assembly for putting this on. Thank you all for coming. We are here for 2 more nights. If you enjoyed it, then tell people. If you didn't, then take it up with Dido. Thank you very much. Round of applause for everyone that took part. Stop. Thank you very much. Cheers. Good night.
The Josh Widdicombe XFM podcast. Live.
Josh Widdicombe, XFM.